Check out this important article on the Free Beacon. Senators demand Biden pull taxpayer funding for anti-Israel initiative. And the byline, State Department fueling new anti-Semitism. That's what the lawmakers say. Now, I just want to read some of this article to you because the article itself nails the issue right on the money. But before I read the article, I just want to say thank you for watching and sharing my Pulse of Israel videos. If you want to continue seeing us produce videos like this with the politically incorrect truths from a proud indigenous Judean Jew living in our ancestral homeland, then all you have to do is every once in a while just click on that donate button to help us so we can continue this important work. All right, getting back to the article, let's go. Here we go. Senate Republican foreign policy leaders are demanding that the Biden administration pull nearly $1 million in taxpayer funding for groups to investigate alleged human rights abuses in Israel, the West Bank, really Judea and Samaria, and the Gaza Strip, an effort that the senators say is fueling a new anti-Semitism. The State Department's Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor announced in March it will pay nonprofit groups up to $987,654 to strengthen accountability and human rights in Israel and the West Bank and Gaza, according to a grant notice first posted online in February. Groups angling for the grant money are instructed to investigate alleged crimes inside and outside of Israel, to collect, archive, and maintain human rights documentation, to support justice and accountability in civil society-led advocacy efforts, which may include documentation of legal or security sector violations and housing, lands, and property rights. That's in order to investigate Israel. The grant was seized upon by Israel's defenders on Capitol Hill as a prime example of the Biden administration's efforts to undermine the Jewish state and strengthen the anti-Semitic boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, which wages economic warfare on Israel. Senator Ted Cruz and 11 other Republican lawmakers are calling on the Biden administration to cancel the grant program and live up to its repeated pledges to combat the boycott, divestment, sanctions movement. Quote, as a policy matter, it is wholly unacceptable for the State Department to fund nonprofit organizations to delegitimize and isolate Israel, the Republican lawmakers write. The State Department, that lawmakers allege, is using U.S. taxpayer dollars to promote a new anti-Semitism that is driven by a global network of anti-Israel non-governmental organizations and human rights groups. And the Biden administration is helping. Continuing the article, senior Republicans on Capitol Hill who spoke to the Free Beacon say the grant is part of a larger effort by Biden administration officials to mainstream the boycott, divestment, sanctions, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic movement and undermine the U.S.-Israel alliance, even as terror attacks on the Jewish state spike. The State Department has already come under scrutiny from the GOP and pro-Israel groups for hiring several people who worked in the anti-Israel community and promoted the BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions movement. Now listen to this. The article continues. Cruz, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, told the Free Beacon that despite its past rhetoric, the Biden administration is helping to foment anti-Israel scandals, no less. And I quote, the Biden administration spends enormous time and resources looking for excuses to criticize Israel on everything from counterterrorism to international diplomacy, Cruz said. Now they're spending $1 million in taxpayer money to manufacture even more excuses and in the process funding the international campaign to delegitimize and wage economic warfare against Israel. The State Department should rescind this grant, end quote by Senator Cruz. So Cruz and his colleagues say that the NGO grant clashes with the Biden administration's rhetorical commitments to fight anti-Semitism and the delegitimization of Israel. It's so true. Now, that's enough from the article. You get the point. My personal final comment to this news is that it is sad that these Republican politicians understand how dangerous this administration is, not just to Israel, but to American Jewry in terms of actively fomenting Jew-hating anti-Semitism, and much more of an understanding than most of American Jews themselves. So if you have any friends or family who need to hear these truths, please share this video with them. The good news is that more people are waking up to what is really going on, but not enough. It's not enough, but more people are waking up. and we have to focus on the positive and take an active role in growing that number of people who are waking up. How can you help? By sharing this Pulse of Israel video and other Pulse of Israel videos. Thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.